Welcome to Buzz Leaps, your daily explainer. Here's a shocking reality for you. Right now, bosses are blowing more money on AI agents than they would just paying human salaries, even while Goldman Sachs warns 300 million jobs face automation risk. So, are you about to be replaced, or is this all a massive illusion? Today, you'll learn the hidden data that will change how you see AI, the future, and Buzz Leaps.
Let's dive right into that massive, frankly terrifying number, 300 million. According to a major report by Goldman Sachs, that is the staggering amount of jobs globally exposed to AI automation over the next decade. When you hear a figure like that, it's so easy to just assume the apocalypse is already here for the working professional. But hold on, because the actual data paints a much stranger, far more fascinating picture.
Because here's the bizarre paradox we're actually living in right now. You'd think replacing us with AI is just a quick way to cut costs, right? Well, not exactly. Both Axios and Futurism are reporting that companies are actually spending more on the computing power, the literal tokens required to run these AI agents, than it would cost to just employ human workers to do the exact same jobs. The economics of AI wiping everyone out simply aren't adding up the way the mainstream headlines claim.
Which brings us to Section 1, the front lines of disruption.
To really grasp this AI paradox, we have to cut through the hype and look at who's actually taking the hits right now. And it's the early career knowledge workers. They are absolutely on the front lines here. Morgan Stanley found the UK is currently suffering net job losses due to AI at a higher rate than other major economies. Meanwhile, giants like Amazon recently slashed 16,000 international roles, hitting regions like Canada particularly hard. And over in the US, Yale Insights is tracking a really sharp rise in recent college grad unemployment. It's climbed to nearly 6%, which means it's rising twice as fast as the rest of the workforce. And to put a hard number on that entry-level squeeze, researchers at Stanford's Digital Economy Lab tracked a 16% decline in early career employment across the occupations most exposed to AI just since late 2022. That is a massive, incredibly fast shift for young professionals who are just trying to get their foot in the door.
But what's absolutely wild here is the geographic divide. Total automation isn't just blanket dropping everywhere all at once. While places like the UK and Canada are seeing a real squeeze with net job losses, other regions like the US and India are experiencing a massive hiring boom. They're creating way more jobs than they're cutting. It literally all depends on where you are and exactly what your skills are.
And that leads us right into Section 2, the counter-narrative of costs and courts.
See, the path to full automation isn't a straight line. It is hitting some massive friction. Remember that paradox about AI actually being more expensive? Well, there's this new trend in the tech world called token maxing. It's basically running multiple AI agents simultaneously to do your coding or background work. Futurism reports this is resulting in astronomically huge bills. Some power users are racking up monthly costs of over $150,000. Uber engineers reportedly blew through their entire 2026 AI budget just using an AI tool called Claude Code. Mindlessly unleashing AI is incredibly, unsustainably expensive.
And it's not just the insane server bills, it's the legal system pushing back. A landmark ruling by the Hangzhou Intermediate People's Court in China just proved that courts won't accept AI efficiency as a free pass for corporate layoffs. They actually ruled in favor of a quality assurance supervisor whose role was being autonomously replaced by large language models. The legal systems are stepping in, demanding fairness, and drawing a line in the sand that new tech doesn't just override basic contract law. All right, let's flip the script and look at Section 3. The bright spots of productivity and growth.
Because once you look past the friction, there is some incredibly exciting data out there. According to ET Edge Insights, India is experiencing a staggering 59.5% growth in AI engineering hiring. And what's super fascinating is that this isn't just happening in the massive tech hubs. It's being heavily driven by Tier 2 cities. Companies are desperately hungry for applied, execution-oriented AI skills. They want people who can actually integrate these tools into real-world business workflows.
Over in Europe, the story is just as encouraging. A major study by the Bank for International Settlements looked at thousands of firms and proved that AI adoption increased labor productivity by an average of 4%. But here is the absolute kicker. They found zero adverse effects on firm-level employment. It's causing what economists call capital deepening. Basically, AI is increasing what a worker can produce rather than just outright replacing the worker.
But, we still have to be realistic about where companies actually are in this journey. Deloitte's 2026 Enterprise Report shows us that while everyone is chasing efficiency, actual adoption is highly varied. 37% of companies are only using AI at a surface level. 34% are redesigning key processes, and only about 30% are using AI to deeply reimagine their actual business models. The gap between AI's potential and its deep, meaningful implementation is still wide open.
Which brings us to Section 4, tasks, not total jobs.
If you take away absolutely anything from today's explainer, please let it be this. Despite all those doom and gloom headlines, the European Training Foundation found that only a tiny 5% sliver of jobs face a high risk of full automation. However, up to 55 to 60% of jobs will see significant changes to their daily tasks, while about 40% will see low or no direct impact. The job isn't disappearing, but how you do the job is fundamentally transforming.
Because what we're actually entering is the era of agentic AI. The most successful professionals in the coming decade won't be replaced by AI at all. Instead, they'll act as human-in-the-loop overseers. You are going to be the manager of autonomous digital workers, seamlessly collaborating to completely redefine productivity. Your real value won't be in doing the rote tasks anymore, but in directing the AI that does them.
So finally, Section 5, your digital freedom roadmap.
How do you actually survive and make sure you're the manager, not the one being disrupted? Well, falling behind on this AI transition isn't just about feeling out of the loop. It has massive, highly quantifiable financial consequences for your career and your earning potential over the next decade.
I am Buzz Leaps, the author and publisher. The book is called The Professional's Roadmap to Digital Freedom. What you're silently losing right now is 40L+. This isn't a book about motivation. It's a manual. And the only question worth asking yourself right now is, can you afford not to have this? Check out the link at https://9b160d4798a for bbc08.v2.appdeploy.ai to secure your copy today.